Sergei Witte by Larissa, Michelle, and Brian. Who was Sergei Witte? Sergei Witte was the first Russian prime minister from November 6, 1905 to May 5, 1906. But before he rose to this position, he attended college at Novorossiysk University in Odessa. After college, where he studied math and physics, he decided to become a civil servant. He began his career working on the railway and worked his way up to Minister of Railways. Within 6 months, he got promoted to Minister of Finance. This is where he initiated his political career and began making great strides for Russian society. Later, he was appointed to become chairman of the Council of Ministers and stayed in this position from October 19, 1905 to April 22, 1906. Sergei Witte's envisioned Russia. Sergei Witte hoped to modernize Russia as it was underdeveloped compared to the rest of Europe. He planned to do this through industrial developments and had interest in expanding on foreign policy. He also advocated for economic progress and stability, as well as urbanization. The Witte system. Most of what the Witte system was an attempt to reform the Russian economic structure in the hopes that this would provide a safe environment for industrialization to thrive. This meant reorganizing the state banks to issue loans and to create a network for these state banks. Witte placed Russia on the gold standard, calling it one of the greatest successes in peaceful cultural development of mankind. He also reorganized the government structure and its financial policies, and implemented social laws when other foreign countries did. Witte designed a manifesto and made Russia a constitutional monarchy, and began industrialization through railway development. Witte's economic policy. Witte pushed for greater exports and foreign loans and investments. He encouraged private entrepreneurship and monopolized alcoholic beverages. He also created the protectionist tariffs. He put Russia on the gold standard, which was the exchange of rubles to gold, and subsidized private and state enterprises. Witte introduced these capitalistic ideas that the rest of Europe was familiar with to give Russia the chance to industrialize. Foreign and domestic policy under Witte. In domestic policy, Witte maintained conservative views and opposed the expansion of the powers of the Zemstvo institutions. On his initiative in 1902, a special meeting was set up on the needs of the agricultural industry. It was in favor of the transition of peasants from communal ownership of land to the farmstead, which was used by Peter Stolypin. In foreign policy, with the participation of Witte, the Moscow Union Treaty was concluded with China in 1896, along with the Convention on the Construction of the Sino-East Railway in Manchuria. The negotiations in Portsmouth. One of Witte's most famous diplomatic successes are the negotiations in Portsmouth. The Russo-Japanese War had cost Russia the economic and political progress it had made in the Far East, and in a desperate attempt to minimize these consequences, Tsar Nicholas II appointed Witte as ambassador for the peace talks in the U.S. The Russo-Japanese Peace Conference began in the American city of Portsmouth. On September 5, 1905, the Portsmouth Peace Treaty was signed, thus marking the end of the Russo-Japanese War. The Portsmouth Peace Treaty is the first international treaty signed in the United States. The organization of the negotiations and the signing of the treaty was facilitated by President T. Roosevelt. Industrialization under Witte. Witte's ideas for industrialization were met with resistance from some of the Russian people, whose livelihoods depended on manual labor. Tsar Nicholas II, who was known for his traditionalist and conservative views, did not agree with the modernization of any aspect of the Russian society. Regardless, Witte pushed forward. Sources of funds for industrialization were sought exclusively within the country and were secured through protectionist tariffs. Funds consisted of income from light industry, but mainly agricultural. Income also came from the monopoly of foreign trade for grain, gold, timber, furs, and other goods. Reformation of Russia's educational system. Vitte's reformation of the educational system broadened the possibilities for much of the Russian people to get an education. This meant maximizing benefits of all the citizens. In turn, it would increase productivity and the production process. This, in turn, would increase the living standard. Witte hoped to achieve this by creating and educating a new social class of capitalists or market economists. Vitte's social impact and Russia after 1915. Although Witte had to work hard and against many people, especially those in high society, he managed to give Russia the push it needed to progress and thrive. After Witte, Russia had managed to make extraordinary progress economically. It was more up to par with Western Europe, and cities were more urbanized, mainly ones that were centers of industrialization, for example, St. Petersburg. The importance of nobility and the elite were diminished, and focus was turned on the working middle class.